or map or whatever the case may be. So we've done some blockouts in the past, but definitely all the most recent stuff, and you'll see a good example today of kind of how our process is working, working with Derek and his team and everything. So we prefer doing it that way.
Yeah, it seems a lot cleaner because then it allows you guys to get to work a lot faster too.
Definitely. And you know, artist types hate having to go back and like destroy stuff they've already put a lot of love and care into. You know, if we find later down the line that we've had to change things or rearrange things or whatever. So this is best for everybody when we can do it this way.
Yeah, I mean, I also feel like, yeah, if we don't, I mean, yeah, sure, you're gonna do blockouts, but even if you start propping out an area and they're like, we need to cut out like 2 hallways.
You're like, wow, that looks amazing, but that room doesn't exist anymore. So.
Like, pardon me while I cry and go home. Yeah. No, we try to avoid that at all costs.
So why don't we show off some of that video that we took? It's a pretty decent long. It's almost full walkthrough of 3 different core missions. We have core mission 1, says in the video 2, 6 and 7, which all look pretty cool. I think 1 and 6 take place at Warcom, which is
actually through the same space.
Mushroom Rock area. Yep. I guess we're not going to show the video yet.
That's running it. You can show the video.
Brad, show us the videos.
Yeah.
Here we go. So yeah, here's like and this is pretty much the block. Like Derek's already blocked out at this point.
Yep.
We're going through here.
Yeah, once you block it
aren't
out,
there anymore.
once we block it out, I kind of just do a walkthrough with just text of telling him, so I can show other people what's going on in this level. So the content designer and the artists all know what's going where. But
There's dead Accord soldiers. Nope,
Spoilers.
not anymore. They're
yeah,
not dead
actually,
Accord soldiers.
some of this
spoilers.
changed quite a bit. So, and then here's the arted
Final
version.
product.
Yeah, this is. Now,
Fully
this isn't something like how long does it take you to get to this point, or one of your team members?
Well, you mean from the time that we get the blockout from Derek or from a designer until it's finished like this?
Yeah.
It depends on probably the size and complexity of a space. This particular one, Sarah made this one actually, so anyone who's wondering what Sarah's been up to since you haven't been seeing her on Firefall Live.
Sarah Decor Mission 1.
She's been building this and did an awesome job, as you can see. I don't remember how many weeks it took her to do this. I think it probably took her about maybe 3 weeks.
Wow.
To take it from, and there's a lot to be done in there. You know, we go through and we figure out how much of the kind of procedural geometry we can keep and just put textures on, and some of that stuff gets replaced with props. And then we'll kind of do a lot of iterating and going back and forth with design and play testing and everything. And then we have our VFX guys come in and add VFX where it's appropriate. And we'll do lighting and things like that. So this is kind of the end result. But
Did Sarah do her own lighting there too?
I think she did most of it. There may have been, I don't know, Aaron Candidate does a lot of our lighting also. I'm not sure if Aaron did a lighting pass in here or not. I don't remember him doing it. I think Sarah did this.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that like after Aaron Candidate started, he's done a lot of lighting. He's pretty good at figuring out what the mood of a scene should be.
And it's a delicate balance, you know, kind of making sure everything is viewable and you can see what you need to see, but also we do a lot of messaging to players with lights, you know, to kind of help steer them into things that we want them to be paying attention to, or doorways or things like that. So
yeah. So how long did it take you to block that? Obviously, it looks like there are some like minor changes. Like this one stayed pretty close to the same. The next one's pretty different. Like when you see the right after this scene, we're going to get into Core Mission 2, and that one's pretty different. But how long did it take you to block these guys out?
A couple weeks for both of them. Like I think 2 weeks I had both of them done. I was also working on Warzone at the time, so.
That's right. You guys were both working on Warzone.
Or Amazon. Sorry, whatever it was called.
Yeah, the Amazon. That's never happened to anybody before, I'm sure.
Below ocean. Yes,
Probably below
the
the
ocean is generally an issue.
This part of the video shows that we fixed that. It actually doesn't take place in that location anymore, from what I understand.
No, we actually got a lot of cool tech to do some different things. So
Also, I think you were saying previously these were going to exist in the open world, but
Yeah, it was actually built inside Mushroom Rock, which was really hard to build 2 levels over the top of each other inside Mushroom Rock and make it fit.
so Core Mission 1 takes place at Warcom. This is Core Mission 6 that also takes place in Warcom.
But you're kind of seeing it from a different angle in this mission.
Right.
You're a lot of it. You're kind of working your way through the ductworks and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and which is kind of an interesting take.
What are dangerous, the Aranyas or the turrets?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much anything in this level is dangerous. Yeah. Alex Schwartz-Rudd did the world building on this level.
Nice.
Did a really nice job.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex is like, I never get to see my stuff on there.
There it is.
Here it is.
Here it
Alex.
is.
Wow, I like the lightning too. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool looking.
Yeah, I really like this one. This one in mission, yeah. I really like all the new core mission areas.
I actually haven't
Really
played through this yet. I mean,
I haven't played through this one yet either, personally.
I started running through like you saw earlier in there, and then I was just, I forgot what happened. I think my system itself was lagging. But
So you can still get to the BSP blackout that's in Mushroom Rock? Is that what he's saying? It is still there?
why not?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So here's another good example of what happens though in the design, like the early design phases and the blackout phase. You put in there like, is this going to be a combat area? We're going to add in creatures, and turned out it's like we're going to be dodging things,
Laser
and
turrets.
platforming
Yeah.
around.
A little more stealth kind of gameplay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was one of the things mentioned in the blog is like a lot of these core missions have kind of gameplay mechanics or tricks and stuff like that we haven't really done before, which I think is really cool because it gives a lot more variety. Particularly Core Mission 2 is kind of cool for that.
that room changed a lot too, because he just like went up through that area that we just showed with the turrets, and then just like walked out. And then it's like, wait, no, there's this thing, and then there's another thing after that. It's
Yeah.
like.
Well, that's why we iterate, Playing through it, you may realize,
Yeah.
hey, we really need something else here, or we need to add a room or whatever.
Yeah, and I guess that's like the beauty of getting those white boxes early, is that you get to really play around with the area, like play through a scenario, and then be like,
Yeah.
we need it needs to be a little bit longer, it needs to be a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I really like Mission 7.
7's pretty cool.
7's really good looking.
Yeah, you meet up with Kara, man.
Yeah. Kara's badass.
Kara's. I think my favorite part about the white box run through is you're like, this is a combat area, and you just start shooting.
This is what they've been doing.
This spot here.
Shoot things.
She stands here and shoots there.
But yeah, then world building comes through and does this, which is just like, wow.
This one's gorgeous.
I think
gorgeous.
I heard Nick Keith did
Yeah,
this one.
this is Nick Keith, and yeah, he knocked this one out of the park.
Yeah.
Like,
He also put the Batcave in Sir Tao. So.
yeah. Anybody who's found the Batcave, that's also Nick's handiwork.
And then here's actually another one of our little cutscenes there.
Yeah.
Pew.
Pew. Bonk. Wrecked.
That's kind of cool.
Cool stuff. And then back to
Back to less pretty.
the
but
boring
still
brown
cool.
BSP.
But I mean, it really
Oh,
shows
this-
like
this end
big
quite
contrast, and like it's really showing off like a part of the process. Now, one thing you can see here is like we have like little cover objects here that you've thrown in there, and you really like you can put those blocks in there like we showed in our core combat test zone. But then once the world builders get in there and you see like those props in there, you use them as cover, but it's not like jumping out like here's a box, stand behind it. It's like it looks a lot more natural to the scene.
And yeah, I was playing through something yesterday, and there's like ripples in the ground that you could kind of get down behind, and just things like that. And yeah, it feels really natural. It's not like, as you say, it's not artificially saying you have to take cover right here. It's just like, hey, there's all this stuff, and
Well, I
if you
mean,
want to,
because
you can try to find one.
here you have like here's sand, so there's the ground, and then here's boxes. And that's probably where you're gonna step behind a reload or
I
something.
really like this ending area.
Yeah.
It's so
The
pretty.
lighting right there.
Yeah.
I think that looks really nice.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I actually came in from a different direction than the blockout came in because I think there are 3 paths at that point.
Yep.
So the blockout went through one, and I wasn't paying attention and went through the other. But you get the idea. It's just, it looks fantastic.
Yesterday, Canada, we're making Red 5, making people late for class. I'm sure you wouldn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, nice job, Aaron.
Way to
Jeez.
go. But yeah, I mean, I really feel like our world artists, they always make go through and like go out of their way to make some breathtaking scenes. So
Well, yeah, we have an awesome team, you know, and I feel really lucky to work on a team with as many talented, and I am just really fun to work with people. And yeah, I mean, I think we consider that our job. Job number one really is, you know, making sure that we're preserving good gameplay, but try to make it look as cool as we possibly can. So
that's awesome. One thing I actually wanted to ask you about, because I know I've heard a lot of discussions where we're talking about the day-night cycle we have,
yeah,
and how another property you worked on, it's a lot more controlled, so that you can control like how things are placed, where shadows are. When you built, I'd say like when you guys were building core missions 2, even 7 there, those take place like in open area. Did we control where the sun was in those for the scene?
for most of those core missions that we just looked at, they're taking place indoors or underground, so sunlight is not really a light source. And our engine allows us to place what we would call environment volumes around rooms and halls and things like that, where we can really control every aspect of lighting for the most part. And so for indoor areas, we don't have to worry about the sun traveling across the sky, for example, or
course.
anything like that. We set kind of an ambient light level, which is non-directional, and then we're placing directional lights in the scene where we want them. And so we have a lot of control, more control, I would say, on an indoor area than we've got on an outdoor area.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Are we still using the lens flare wipes?
Yes, all the lens flare.
Of course.
Fantastic.
Lens
That's
flare and
great.
explosions. We are literally Star Trek.
We do have some questions that were written in on the forums. If you guys don't mind, we already covered what are you working on right now, I guess.
Secret stuff.
Actually, before we get into that, I have one more question. So, yes, both of you have at least worked on Miru at least a little bit.
I actually didn't work on Miru other than just like the whole world art team. We look at everything and give feedback to each other, and so that was about as much input as I had on Miru.
What I meant by is, I guess you were both here for Miru at that point. Would you say, I guess, Mark, would you say that Miru is about the size of our other campaign missions, like
Well,
6? Is it bigger, or smaller?
I'd say it's bigger. Miru, actually, when we were, that's another one that it was kind of split between 2 of our world artists, Alex Schwartz-Rudd and then Zach Turner. And when Alex first started blocking out that area, or kind of building it out, I remember sitting in reviews and we were like, "This is getting huge. Are you going to be able to finish all this?" He's like, "Oh yeah, no problem, no problem." And they did. They finished everything on time. But it's pretty big. Like I think, so far, I would say it's probably bigger than any of the core missions that I have seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd say it's definitely bigger than the core missions. But like a mission like Blackwater Anomaly or.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's probably a better, comparison size-wise and the amount of content in there.
Yeah. So like, I was going to lead that into. Do you think it's more efficient for us to like, or I guess the core missions, they kind of make it more efficient for us to make a smaller piece of or a smaller game session, and deliver like that kind of story and episodic content that we're looking for, right? So it's like.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors that kind of go into that, but I think we've looked at different sizes of pieces of content and kind of aimed for what we think is an ideal size for, kind of a chapter out of the story, which is really kind of what the core missions are.
Yeah.
Is a little bit of a chapter out of the story.
Nice. So I mean, I guess scope-wise, they're a lot quicker to crank out than I would say.
Some are quicker than others, you know.
Well, then Blackwater Anomaly, say, or Miru.
Yeah, right,
For sure.
right. But yeah, we were able to get, 10 of these done in, I guess it was probably a little over a month.
Wow.
Month and a half,
Wow,
maybe,
yeah.
Wow.
That's
on the world building side. So yeah,
On the world building side, okay.
They went fairly quickly. You know, a couple world artists did more than one. Most of we've got 10 world builders on our team, and most of the world builders were working on one or more of these core missions.
That's awesome. Jordan Jones, just to throw in a little clarification there. Actually, 1 to 10, I think, and the 1 to 10 experience, you won't touch a core mission. It's until, I think, from what I played through, once you hit level 10, you'll be directed to your first core mission. So 1 to 10 is more like teaching you like the very basic ropes of Firefall. Like,
Right.
this is what a waypoint looks like. This is how you glide around. These are what objectives are and how you interact with them, kind of thing. But in a more combat-y scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
10 to 20 on the other hand. Yes, there are
Right.
10
That's-
10 new core missions in the build that we're working on getting to PTS.
Yeah,
In addition
exactly.
to the campaign missions.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. I saw Jordan Jones also asking about part of a core mission being in pitch black. Yes, you can. One of the core missions I just played through yesterday was very, very
Yeah,
dark.
hopefully you won't see anything pitch black,
Well, not
because
pitch black.
if you
Well,
do,
it's
then
core
we missed
mission-
something.
Core
But
mission
yeah.
5 maybe, where it's very dark and they hand you flares at the beginning
Right.
and stuff like that.
and that's
so.
like a conscious choice for a game mechanic.
No,
that
absolutely. It's-
You're
it's
throwing
absolutely
out flares to
understand.
light up certain areas and stuff. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that mission a lot. And it's gorgeous looking too. I'm
Yeah.
excited for people to see that one.
Yeah, that was Jared Holloway who did that stuff.
Nice.
That particular mission.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that came in was, will Antarctica or Sargasso Sea ever come back anytime soon?
I suspect at some point they will.
I'd imagine so.
I can honestly say that I am not aware of that being part of our current known schedule.
Yeah.
But the intent, I think, when we made those was to prove out those kits, from an art standpoint.
Exactly.
That we could make cool environments with those themes visually. And so it was some work we did that it would be a good idea, I think, in the future to capitalize on. Maybe that's what happened with Devil's Tusk. Started as the Diamond Head melding pocket.
Yep.
And then we developed it into a full zone. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the same thing happen.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely possible as well, just because, yeah, we have the kit, we have the, we know what the environment's supposed to look like.
Yeah, and sometimes that's a big part of the work too, is figuring out how you put everything together to find the right kind of chemistry so that it's going to look good. And
Yeah.
we've already done that. So
No, yeah, I mean, we've already built out a good amount of Antarctica. Well, maybe not a good amount, but we've built out an amount of Antarctica. Based on how long it took us to build Warzone, how long that would be a pretty big task just to even do in its own, though, right?
yeah, and especially if we're building a full zone, that's really where we want to follow our full process, where we're really working closely with design. We're getting blockouts and
Yeah.
everything. We're iterating on the blockouts, play testing those, make sure that it's fun first, and then go ahead and make it beautiful after the fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, that takes a little bit longer. The Amazon probably took us 3 months, I would say, to kind of build out that whole zone.
And there was quite a few world builders on that though at the time.
Yeah, that kind of consumed most
Yeah.
of our world building team.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
It's a big project, yeah.
that's crazy.
yeah.
How many level designers do we have on it? Oh, just one. How long did it take you to block that out? Like block out, I
Warzone?
guess as a whole. I mean, I guess you were also working on core missions
Warzone
and
had a top-down map created for it that I was working off of, so I don't know. I got you guys block out in I think about a month. I think I got all of it done.
And we
month to
iterated
block it
on
out.
it a few times.
And you guys were still going through the process of what themes those 3 areas were going to be,
Yeah.
and doing some asset stuff with that.
Wow. Month to block it out. and
big
you guys,
jump.
he did a core
Yeah.
mission in like 5.5 hours. I think it was 5 hours, 35 minutes, and 42 seconds. Exactly.
But keep in mind, that's to do one pass
Yeah.
of a blockout.
That was not only one pass, but he was also uninterrupted, sitting in a room.
Yeah, which wouldn't happen if he was at his desk.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah.
And so during that month that we're blocking out, we block it out, we play test it, we talk about it, we block it out again, repeat that
course.
process as many times as we need to.
Yeah. And I even think that original block out, I think you lightly placed some cover in there, but I think it didn't even have a cover pass yet.
Yeah, usually I finish the block out. We talk about it, meet with the designers and world builders, and then you start cutting things and changing things. And so 2 or 3 renditions later, you finally have a final block out and ready to go.
Speaking of cover passes, I mean, I got to walk by. I think I was looking for one of you guys at one point when we were at the old office a couple months ago, and maybe I was waiting for David, but I remember I just plopped by a meeting, just sat there and watched you guys talk about cover passes in all of Coral Forest, and putting in like just to kind of suit the new combat in a sense, but make sure that, you know, I think there were like best practices, like you don't want like a meshed fence,
Right.
like with collision to be like that doesn't read as cover very well.
Yeah, that was, specifically that was kind of just from about messaging to players, that really making it clear if this should be usable as cover, then it shouldn't look like it's full of holes that you can get shot through. So
Yeah. Also,
Not cover fall.
Yes. I've been playing through this new build as a recon, and I don't play that much recon, and have not been too much worried about cover. I've been just running and gunning like crazy, and been doing fine. So
Haters gonna hate.
it's okay. Don't worry. Cover's there if you need it, but it's not like you have to hide behind cover, pop out, take a couple shots, and pop back. No, you can still run around and jump jet and everything and do fine. So I think it's a good balance personally.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I guess that was another huge task for both level designers and world artists.
Yeah, you know, on some of the old Ares jobs that people were getting from the job boards and stuff, the way that those are dynamically kind of placed in the world actually made our job on the world building side a little bit easier. As far as cover goes, we actually just took a little bit of time to construct some new cover objects and tried to make a much wider variety of objects that could be used and spawned in dynamically for cover. And so one pass at that in each of the visual themes was pretty much all that it took. A little bit of tweaking after the fact. If we discovered that a certain cover piece doesn't sit right on the terrain or something, then we'll go back and make a fix. But that part was not as hard as you might think.
Well, that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
that's awesome. But I mean, it's still more stuff to be done.
Yes.
Lots of stuff to be done.
There's always things to do.
Another question that came in was, what has been your favorite or hardest level / zone to build?
I think it was still Warzone or Amazon. I think
Amazon?
was the most fun. I got to do some world building too, a little bit, which was cool.
Yeah. For me, it would be hard to probably say just one, although the Amazon would definitely be one of them. It's just as far as stuff that I personally built. The cratered area in the Amazon was challenging.
That was really
Because our kind of just our concept verbally for it was, this is an area that's been so heavily bombed out that it's all just sunken further down into the ground and it's full of craters, and it's like, okay, let me work with that. But it also was rewarding because, you know, like when everything was done, I think you know, we were happy with it, so that was pretty cool. Sargasso Sea was another one that was probably a little bit of a challenge, just kind of figuring out how that was going to work. And then the Bandit Cave that we did for Dirty Deeds was another one that took a little bit of figuring out, but I was happy the way that one turned out.
Awesome. Those were good answers. This is a pretty funny one, I think. Sometimes we fall through the world, but we see how deep the world space is. Will we ever see caverns that really use this depth? For example, a cave system to glide through, or deep mines to explore?
Or a hell level for players who don't behave themselves.
There's one cave that I was just doing a pass on in Sertao that goes pretty far down.
Yeah, the like kind of the mining, the like abandoned mine looking one. That does, and that's a pretty big one too.
Yep.
You know, I think the depth of the world, and as far as like how far you will fall before you eventually respawn, I think we are just out of an abundance of caution. It is way deeper than we probably ever need it to be, which is good. That's good design
That's
on our
good.
tools guys' part.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
Good job, Lutz, once again.
Yes.
Why are there so many triangles flying underground? Looks like pieces of ground trees and rocks.
So if you're under the train,
It was
why
under
are
the
there
train.
pieces?
Yeah, it's like
Well, it's still gonna draw the trees and rocks and stuff. So you're
Well,
just looking at the bottom of it, really.
Actually, I'll give you the real answer, and it's
Sure.
not real exciting.
I'm
But,
sure it isn't. But.
You know, one of the cool things about our tech, if you've never heard us mention Lutz before, Lutz is our tools programmer and a graphics programmer, and he is a wizard.
Yeah.
He is amazing at what he does. And
He
one
has
of the
cool business cards.
yeah,
Lutz.
as well he should. You know? But one of the amazing things that he wrote for our engine is a process that we run regularly before we produce a build that goes through and it'll analyze all of our geometry in the world. And one of the many things that it does is it can detect geometry that's underground, and it will actually call that out so that our rendering pipeline doesn't have to pay for all of those polygons.
That's pretty cool.
It's actually a huge savings. Now, it's not 100% perfect. It misses triangles here and there. And my guess is that's why you're seeing just random triangles that are here or there. And I won't get into this technical stuff of how it works, but it doesn't catch everything. But it still saves us a ton of rendering time.
It's awesome. I think one of the last ones, I think this one was from Violet and Red, maybe. But they asked, how is it possible to break water? I've seen squares and triangles of water cut out in a few places.
Water's really cool how it's done. Like, you can talk about it more than I can.
Well,
but-
so in our, we have a tool called Forge, which is our world editor.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of different types of water that we can place there. River water is placed kind of by generating a spline, which is just a series of nodes that we place down, and they're all connected. And they have little tangent handles and stuff, so you can get nice Bezier curves and everything. And then we set a width for that spline, and that dictates how wide the river is. Now, if we don't set that wide enough so that all of those edges are tucked under the terrain, then you'll see a hard edge to where that river stops. Now, lake water is handled a little bit differently. We place that down, and it starts as a square, and then we can scale that thing up and move that square around. And our job on the world building side is to try to make sure that it's big enough so that all of its edges are tucked underneath the terrain. And it actually then will call out little portions of the water plane that are not visible, just like we were talking about earlier. And so most of the time, if you see broken water, that's the fault of the world builders. I will say though, we've had occasionally little technical bugs that have come up that cause water to not render properly, and we have to go in and just kind of nudge things around a little bit, and that usually will fix it. But more often than not, it's a world building problem.
That's pretty cool. A couple of questions I saw on there that are unrelated to our discussion. I'm probably going to take some calls here in a minute too. Grimwolf had asked about advanced progression or level 40 plus. We haven't spoken about that yet. We do have plans for that, and we will be we'll release those plans when they're a little bit more solidified. But we do want to. We are working to have a system to address what do I do with XP when I hit level 40. So there will be that, but we'll be discussing that maybe in a couple months or so. Crafting pass, that's another thing that's coming down the line. I think we have Primus, one of our designers, working on that, and he's I think he's got like what he wants like papered out, and I think we have to prototype it. I think Wu and Sean were on last week, and they were saying that crafting's probably up next on their docket. Like,
Cool, cool. And crafting, feeds into so many different systems.
It does.
Loot tables and
it's so much, and yeah, it's so important. And a lot of our users really care about it. So,
I do too. As a player, I do too. Yeah,
No, absolutely.
Converting XP to credits, no.
That's that. It's a little more in depth than that.
Drake's got a question for you.
I
Let me get on TeamSpeak here.
I don't know. Drake. Probably not.
Looking forward? No, we don't. There's
yeah,
no.
it's not looking forward for next
We don't.
week.
We don't have anything.
I need to figure out what I'm doing next week, to be honest. I saw one question that's kind of related to you guys. Is the lack of day-night cycle in Devil's Tusk, is that a you guys decision, or is that?
Well, that would be
No.
an us decision, or us combined. I mean, usually we wouldn't make that in a bubble. We would confer with the art director, we'd confer with our design team and everything. And there are instances where we might decide to not do a day-night cycle. Yeah, I wasn't. Is there really no day-night cycle in Devil's Tusk?
Yeah,
There
not really.
probably is, but I'm
don't-
assuming that there's a volume that's
Or if
blocking
it's
it,
just
or-
subtle.
I think
Aaron,
this-
if you're still watching, post and let us know if you did a day-night cycle for
I
Devil's
think, I
Tusk.
think the sun is just stationary in Devil's Tusk, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't
I
sit there and stare
Could
at the
have
sky.
sworn
but
there
I'm
was a
pretty sure
day-night
it is.
cycle, but
Yeah, my initial thought was that it was probably just a subtle difference between day and night, and I think because we were going for the effect of this huge volcano like spewing ash and smoke and whatever all over the zone, then I think the idea would be that it was always kind of dim. But there are areas down by the beach, for example, where it's a little bit less oppressive.
yeah. Using add-ons, the zone's time is locked for 4 a.m. in the day-night cycle.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Ready Fish. Yeah, I don't know. It may have been a time thing. Like, I don't know if we were in a hurry and we just ran out of time to do a full day-night cycle, or if it was just we thought after experimenting with it, we decided this is what looks best. Let's just lock it here.
Yeah, I would imagine it's probably an art decision. That's-
Yeah. If Aaron is still watching, I'm sure he'll post and he'll give us the straight scoop on that.
Yeah. So I goofed up and didn't put our TeamSpeak PC on TeamSpeak, so we're not gonna have calls. So we'll just keep taking questions right out of chat here.
Questions from chat. All right.
Hey, we have a hashtag for this.
It's because Cream's bike wasn't here until after we started. That's why the start was so rough. Thank you, Jason.
Would be super cool to see volcanoes at night. Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty neat.
We've done
looking.
some screenshots of it because we can, you know, and internally we can control the sun with our cheats. So
I
we've
can
done some
control the
screenshots of
sun.
it. We're our gods.
Eat it, Superman. I control your power source.
Yes, JK to Killer, I did bathe today.
Oh my!
Yes,
What kind of question is that?
I didn't bathe.
Come on,
I took
man.
a shower. I don't know if that. I don't take a bath every morning. That's just effort. I shower.
Do world builders argue with AI programmers at times about whether it's an NPC being derpy or the world's not built properly for the NPC to path?
they both
Well-
blame level design.
Yeah, there you go.
They both blame level
Yes.
design.
We have a pact with AI programmers to blame the level
There you go.
designers, actually.
And the level designer.
Yeah,
is
and since
so.
Pez really is in charge of everything, ultimately it's really his responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there are times when world builders, in all honesty, do get bugs because if we don't leave enough space for NPCs to path through, then they obviously won't path through, and so sometimes we have to move things around to help our AI out a little bit.
Will there ever be a mission on the ArcLight? Wow, that question comes up so often, and I think it'd be so cool.
Yeah, I
like
think
if
it'd be
we
cool.
would build an area out on the ArcLight.
Like the question comes up in the office as well.
Yes, it's been talked about.
Yeah.
I guess I'll leave it at
yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
It's been talked about.
That's awesome.
There's no definite answer to give, but it is it is something that
Yeah, I
is
mean,
on our radar.
there's so many questions I see where it's just like, hey, could you build like a floating area that you have to take a dropship to get to?
It's like
I'm sure
yes,
we could.
We could.
And I'm sure we could make it look really awesome. There's I think there's tons of potential of what we can do with our tools, with our talent,
With our story.
with our story. There's I mean, there's just tons of potential. So it's like, can you do this? Like, probably.
Yeah.
It's always a matter of like, well, the designers got to get together and decide this is what we want to do, or maybe it's all the leads get together and say this is what we want to do. So maybe Mark goes in there, he's like, damn it, I want a floating island.
Yeah.
We're making a floating island, and everyone's like, all right, fine, Mark wants a floating island.
I just have to convince Boone, probably.
Yes.
And they need jet skis apparently to get there.
We need jet skis. Let's briefly mention the new module system.
So long,
But
it's
deployment
going away.
modules be handled
no.
differently. They'll be
Text
loot drop.
moving too
So
quickly.
modules in general are going to be loot drop only, from what I understand. They're going to be upgraded through the tinkering system. So they're mostly going to be moving, modules are going to be moving out of the crafting system and moving into the tinkering system. So
The deployment modules specifically are going to be prototype modules, as we call them. So they're their own. They don't combine with other modules to like make, you don't, with the other modules mentioned, they have ranks and you can combine modules of the same type to rank up and things like that and make hybrids. Deployment modules will operate outside of that as their own kind of thing, their own prototype modules, but they will still have upgrades and they will still have hybrids, with different effects and things like that. I think Stephen McNally and them they're still working on.
Yeah, our lead
the
system
details.
designer said that because a lot of people were like concerned because we were switching max deploy into prototype style modules, so they couldn't really be hybridized anymore like they are now. And players were concerned about that because they like their hybrid max deploy modules. So he said that we're going to work out how to turn max deploys into hybridized modules.
That's still in progress. So we don't have more specific details to give on that yet, but it is definitely a topic that we're working on.
Yeah, for sure. No transformer modules? No. More info for the tinkering system. We released a blog about how tinkering's going to work. So
yeah, we don't have more information.
Yeah, you could go check that out, and then there's like a whole thread about discussing the tinkering system. So if you want to check that out, you can do that.
I can answer that one from Jordan Jones. What's the deal with some collision meshes not matching some rock's visual elements to a point where you can hide inside the rock and be standing on collision mesh? All right, well, here's the deal. When we make a prop, or when our modelers make a prop, it really has a couple of components. It's got a visual record, which is basically the visual mesh that you're seeing. But then all of the geometry that has collision or physics applied to it is a completely separate mesh that we pay for independently of the visual mesh, right?
Okay.
So the reality is if we had polygon perfect collision for everything, we wouldn't be able to afford to put nearly as much stuff on screen.
Okay.
Our draw distance wouldn't be able to be nearly as distant as it currently is. So we do an optimized mesh for collision, and we do our best to make that match the visual mesh that you're seeing as we can. We do our best. Now, when we scale, as on the world building side, when we take a rock and we start scaling it up, then the gap between the collision mesh and the visual mesh starts to increase by the same amount that you're scaling up the rock. So what started as maybe 6 inches of a gap between collision and visual geometry, if you scale it up 10 times, is now 60 inches, right? So that's exactly what creates this problem that we're talking about. We do have rules and guidelines that we try to stick to on the world building side as far as how much we tolerate scaling things up, and that's the main reason that, and also texel density, which is how it looks as you scale it up.
Right, yeah.
So we do our best to avoid those kinds of situations. Generally, our rule of thumb is if somebody is sinking into an object, like say up to their knee or more, then that is not okay with us, and we want to fix that. And we have a number of ways of fixing that, but we don't always catch them until bugs are filed on those things. So that's a great thing. If people see that, that's a great thing to file a bug on.
How about an NPC peasant game? Boone, Burgess,
Make it happen.
get it in there.
We've got a Frank.
Wearing a Blame Pez t-shirt.
Hey, no, he
2015.
died. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Or did he? I don't know. Yeah, he did. All right. I saw someone asking about the maximum number of turrets. That's on the same subject of the deployment modules. McNally said that he would make sure that the max number of turrets would be at least the same, if not more. So
that
again,
is pretty much the verbatim
but again,
on the forums.
Again, still in discussion, so no more details.
Skin Tingles just had a question about pushing the melding, the goal of the players pushing the melding and stuff like that, and he asked if that idea was going to be developed more. We do have that happening in the Amazon currently, and I think that is a mechanic that we've now proven that we can do as far as pushing the melding and having a more dynamic melding curtain that moves based on what the players are doing. So yeah, check out the Amazon if you haven't been there. That's a decent example of it in action right now. And yeah, I would assume we will continue working with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, I guess how that goes is we put in our first few attempts at it. So I think we first tried it at Devil's Tusk with the global pushbacks. and that didn't really work out exactly the way we wanted it to. I mean, we've discussed that back in the past, but when we did the Devil's Touch pushback, that didn't work out exactly how we wanted it to. And originally there was going to be a war front there, where you had the melding going back and forth, but the issue was that it was very linear, so it was very predictable and not very engaging, which is why we turned it into the 20-man pushback raid, and then you get to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
Because that's at least pretty fun to go in and like charge him with the melding.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about that is it just keeps getting better, like from the design standpoint, from like the world standpoint, everywhere. It just mechanically, it just keeps getting better. So.
And I think we've been tweaking our approach to content, which has given us better options for how you interact with melding repulsors and how they fit in with the fiction of what you're doing and all of that. So.
And the kind of topic of content in old zones. I mean, we were just talking about we've got 10 new core missions going in just within Coral Forest, within the first part of Coral Forest, first 20 levels, plus a new operation will be in that level range, and all that
level
other
20?
things. So level 15, I think.
Is it 15 really?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, the first operation that they send you to, it's around 15.
Operation High Tide, but yeah. So we're definitely putting new content in old zones as well. We aren't just, and on the flip side, we're not just adding new content in old zones. We got stuff for end game content as well, like the crafting updates and things like that. But also the new operations, which will each have 40 level 40 hardcore modes and the arena PvP. So we're working. We're not focusing on one or the other. New old content or new end game content. We're working on everything. So
I'm online.
Is it online?
I guess I left my client in.
Oh,
I was
good
leveling yesterday, my Electron.
Somebody asked a question just a second ago about vehicles and can we do vehicle missions. We are continuing to work on vehicles, and
I know there's a vehicle in one of the core
there
missions.
is a vehicle portion of one of the core missions.
One of the new ones, yeah.
And in an operation as well.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spoil that.
Yeah.
Crazy Savant asks, we're going to do anything about how elite shock troopers are balanced. I think that's not immediately. I think that's safe to say we're probably not going to do much immediately, but when we go live with all these changes, which is going to be more than just the 10 core missions, it's probably going to be a lot more. I don't want to say a number because I don't want to promise a number. But there's going to be more. We're going to litter, like core missions will be littered throughout Coral Forest or Tau, potentially Devil's Tusk. But also coming with that is a lot of our combat upgrades. And the combat upgrades don't just encompass the players; it also encompasses the enemies. So how we spawn enemies, how they're used. Their hit point to damage ratios and everything, that's all getting changed at the same time. So that's probably all going to happen at once, like a huge rebalancing effect there.
So Grimwolf asking about more instances like Miru. That's when we say operations, that's what Miru is an operation. We'll have 3 more operations coming with this update. They will be of lower levels initially, but they will each have the level 40 version. So 3 more Miru-esque instances are in the works.
Mr. Rajek's asking about a merch pad. I actually have seen a few players in game. Like usually, what was I doing? I was in Devil's Tusk the other day, and we have this new Chosen toy where I can polymorph it to a Chosen, but still be on the Accord side, so no one can kill me. But I can still like drop incursions and like turrets in. So I was just dumbing everywhere. A lot of the players were there.
So that's you doing that, huh, Frank?
Yeah, I was just popping it wherever. I know we were supposed to have guidelines about where you can spawn these things. I'm like, whatever, just put it there. But I saw a whole bunch of people with the merch pad in there, and that's something that we actually can't and shouldn't go back and sell again, because that's something that we promised to our original supporters that supported us from the very onset at PAX.
It was a
in
limited
2011.
edition.
Yeah, it's very limited
First
edition.
challenge.
It was billed as exclusive, and we really should make sure we're sticking to that. I grabbed some video, no, because human chosen. I think the model's broken. It just doesn't look very good.
Saw someone asking about the looking for squad. There's actually that's working on being updated as well. I think there's a new. At least the initial parts of the new looking for squad is already implemented internally. I think.
Yeah, actually,
it's still in
tested it a
progress.
couple days ago.
We've at least got the new group queuing system. I think the actual looking for squad is still coming soon, but yeah, no, that's absolutely something we're working on as well.
Not butthurt about merch because the cool version was censored. I had a chat with your dad. Nope,
man.
you said something else.
Moving on, ask other questions.
Are there any plans for Cliff's Edge? That's actually something we were talking about right before we went live with the show.
Right.
That's a good
And
question.
I'm not sure where that's gonna. I'm sure that the narrative team's gonna wedge that in there somewhere.
Yeah,
'cause
I would imagine that would become part of the core mission string, but
Do
I
I have to do a
haven't heard
cover
anything
pass on that?
specific
I don't think.
yet.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
I'm like, it's just off in its own little corner right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that the players have brought up quite a lot. I think we were talking about this. It's probably about the size of a core mission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah,
Like about
a smallish.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's made. You know.
Yeah, it's made. It's in. It works.
It'll probably have some more
It's pretty cool.
story-esque stuff injected into it, I would imagine. But yeah,
Is Fortaleza Antigua ever going to be finished? Clifftown.
Lift down.
Clifftown. Shout. Burgess hates it when I call it Clifftown. That's why my fantasy team is Clifftown. Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know if we have plans to go there. Again, that a lot of that comes down to narrative. Like,
Yeah, if they decide that there's a way that they want to use that area, I can tell you that when it was originally made, it was intended to be just like a visual backdrop thing up there. But the wonderful thing about Firefall is you can pretty much get any place if you put your mind to it. You know, and so people, of course, do get up there, and you know, it is a pretty cool little area up there. But
yeah, and they can get through the ground and.
yeah, well, these are the problems with something that's intended to be visual only. You know, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because I talked to the guys from Co-op Comrades, Sleepwalker and Laura Nikon over there. They're like, they gave me a list of like 72, 74 bugs. Maybe it was more than that. I think I talked to you about that originally, and you're like, yeah, go talk to Jay.
I've probably drank that out of my memory at some
It's
point.
possible.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you could teleport beacon through this thing. You could teleport shot through that thing. If you go into this airy space, there's a vent over here. If you hit your LGV and you project it through the vent, spawn it, and then you can get on it in the vent and then drive around under the world. And like,
You know what? Their punishment for discovering all these bugs should be that we should hire them, and then they get to do nothing but fix these types of bugs. That would be wonderful.
it's just
Teleport shot is my favorite ability as a world builder.
Oh,
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Sure.
teleport shot and beacon. I'm sure because they're tiny. They're like they're the size of a pixel,
Yep, it's fun.
and they get through anything.
keeps you honest. Yeah.
Yeah, see, they're laughing. Oh, yeah, that teleport shot thing.
The green LGV. Are you talking about the what's
That's
it
the
called?
K-12.
or the new one from the campaign tokens? The
Oh, the Lancer.
that's the
3?
one. Maybe it's like
Yeah,
black and bright green has that boost. That'd be from the campaign tokens.
Doesn't the Lotus have a copyright on the Lotus LGV? I think.
Oh, Locust. Possibly. Locust.
Oh, the
LGV?
Locust. I think we said that model's exclusive,
Yeah.
so we're probably not going to reuse that model.
Oh, yeah.
Though we do
Locust
have the Vespa model. I think we call it the Vespa, but it's like the Vapor, the Zephyr, and the other one. It escapes me right now. Vortex.
There's too many names.
The Vapor, the Zephyr, and the Vortex.
Speaking of LGVs, there's a neat little change coming to those as well.
Oh yeah, I told the mentors about this, but go ahead and.
I'm not going to spoil it. I want to see them figure it out. But I thought it was really cool when it happened. I'm like, wait, is this a bug? No. This is awesome.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I'll have to ask after it's true.
You don't.
Wait,
You,
well,
you
I guess
definitely
everybody
encountered
probably-
it.
Yeah.
I might just not realize what you're referring
You
to.
definitely encountered it because you get
PTS
your P1
hype.
now as soon as you finish your MPE.
Oh, is that just what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind then. I thought you meant to, like, the LGVs themselves.
No, I don't think.
Although there is actually, I think the the red bean LGVs have had their health buffed a little bit. I've
Have they?
noticed internally. Yeah, I think they're up to 5,000
Yeah, there's probably
now.
some balancing stuff that did too.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely tweaks.
Jake, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
JK Tequila. Yes.
Giant neuron
I'll
nest
just
in the
say,
ground. And
in answer to your question, yes.
That's actually...
Will we ever see a mission
might-
where we go into a giant Irana nest in the ground and do bug extermination?
That might be related to the almost pitch black one that I was referring to earlier.
Yeah, there may be several, as a matter of fact.
Indeed.
Please get that thing.
That
All right. So the thing with the LGV is it's a little quality of life tweak,
Yeah.
but it's really awesome. So my experience that I express to the mentors, I basically keep in contact with the mentors just in case there's any issues or any questions that they need me to answer. So I try to keep pretty close contact with them. So it's like I'm going through the MP on the internal build, and I glide. And typically my behavior is I'll hit my LGV key, and so that the hologram's coming out. So the second I land or before I land, I can spawn it, get in, and go like super efficient like. So I'm gliding, and then I hit my LGV key like normal. And all of a sudden, an LGV spawns. I get on it, and I just drop. It's like,
rolling start. All right.
awesome. It was so good, but yeah, it's only for the P1 right now. But I was talking to David Sievers and Steve McNally, and they said they're going to replicate it across all the LGVs. But
Pretty awesome.
as soon as you hit your LGV key, you just get on it and you get to go.
So you can just jump off a cliff, hit the LGB key, and just straight through the air.
So Plutonium Jones was
cool.
asking about like, can we make it retain momentum?
God, I would love that.
I think it retains a little bit.
Yeah.
It does a
I
little.
think it does a little bit, but it doesn't like go crazy.
Drawn the bikes. Yeah.
But
Then again, you are spawning like a ton of metal in the air, so it's
That's
probably
true,
going to
like-
fall like.
Probably if you hit it like on a downhill. or
You should
something
start
like that,
getting like the
probably work
crater
better.
burn around it as it's going down.
oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, we're just making more work for Sievers. So
He doesn't mind,
pile
does
it
he?
on.
He doesn't
Yeah, he
have
won't
anything
care.
to do. It's fine.
Good.
It's kind of like trying. It's just like it's the exact same spawn in animation for an LGV, and you just kind of like get on it like you normally would, and then unfortunately you can't like build up speed and then like hit the ground and start going like 90. It's just like it's actually like if you hit the ground, you're like
Kind of bounce and,
And then you go.
gets all squirrely for a little
But,
bit, and then you're going.
It's not the
Yeah.
smoothest transition, but
yeah,
it's still pretty fun.
it's definitely. I think it's a nice little tweak for quality of life for at least getting on an LGV because
Yeah.
geez, I mean, imagine, well, not imagine, it's actually happened. Like watching new players get their P1s after doing, even in the wheelhouse, talking months ago, and they're like, okay, I got my LGV, how do I use it? All right, go into your call downs,
Right.
put it on the hotbar, press the button, aim where you want to spawn it, click, press E. Now it's just at least get it on your hotbar,
Hit the button.
hit the button, and you're like, whoop, on it.
Yeah.
Now we have to teach them how to dismount.
No, that's fine.
No,
Yeah.
That's
you
fine.
just drive
You
into
can't-
water until it blows up.
Yeah, exactly. Find the deepest water you can.
And that's how you get up. Yep.
That's how I usually do it. It's like when I go ice skating, I just stop by running into walls.
That's me skiing. So,
Oh man, I have an amazing skiing story. Last time, I'm never going skiing again. But any chance to get hotkeys for gliders and LGVs, we could save some hotfire slots. I think that's been discussed. I don't know where we're at on that, but I'm pretty sure I've heard that being discussed. Same with like a grenade key, to throw grenades, or a melee key to. Well, we already have a melee key.
Yeah.
But, slotting a melee weapon and stuff.
Mhm.
So it's been discussed. I'm not sure if we're actually gonna get there. When we get special functions like turbos on our MGVs, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk to the
Yeah.
items guys about that.
And
But
we should
let's-
probably,
Time check.
yeah, it's about
Well,
10 after. So sorry about
I'm giving them time since
No,
we started a little
Since
late,
Creamy
so
Spike
I'm
wasn't here.
giving them a little bit more show.
yeah, sure.
So we'll cut it there. What we could do is we'll get into everyone who's watching's favorite segment, and all cats everywhere love this segment, which is Do You Even Art Bro?
Do you even art, bro?
Do you, bro? Do
I
you?
mean, I guess. Question for Mark: do you even art, bro?
Yeah, sometimes.
Occasionally, when the mood takes me.
Living the dream. This week we have a slew of really cool entries. I think we have entries by Fooney, Legend 57, and J Red Bear. We still have entries from Extra Soda, Just a Tube, and Violet and Red put in a pretty cool entry. But this week we're going to show off these ones. So I think first up we got Fooney.
Woo.
And that's Fooney's Chibi,
Chibi
Electron.
Yep.
Yay!
Fooney's
Chibi-
back.
Chibi Electron.
We're going to have to
Pattern in the
copyright
background
that
of it.
pink hair clip and add that into the Red Bean store.
Yes. This one is a piece from Legend 57. It's
Nice.
Kangaroo as a fire cat.
Ah.
Hey, go back.
Hey.
I'm still
Good
talking about it.
Good stuff.
It's Kangarood's character as a fire cat in chosen uniform.
Fooney, it's because
By
you're always
Legend
first.
57.
Why would you not go first?
Yeah, Fooney's
'Cause
first.
It's always first.
That's
It-
just how it goes.
I mean, come on. It seems obvious.
And then next up we have another installment of Grumpy Firecat, which is one of my favorites.
I love Grumpy Firecat.
That's good.
Promise. No, bro. It's cool. It's still there.
So
I
good.
won't do anything this time. Fool me
Alrighty.
once, shame on you, wounded bandit. Fool me twice, because I keep wanting those rewards. I don't know.
Alrighty, so those are our entries for this week that we're going to vote on. Derek, you get to vote first.
I like the Wounded Bandit one.
You like the Wounded Bandit?
yeah.
One for J Red Bear, Grumpy Firecat.
I would say that actually fits into Do You Even Comedy, bro?
Yeah.
Do You Even Comic Strip, bro? Or something like
Comedy's
that.
an art.
But I would have to vote for that one, too. I got a good laugh out of that.
Wow. I'm going to go with Legend 57.
I'm also going to go with Legend 57.
Uh-oh.
Got to go for a tiebreaker.
We need a
What are we gonna do?
tiebreaker.
What are we going to do?
Um,
Start the chat. We can throw it back there.
oh, yeah, we could have Michelle.
Michelle, full reels.
Wounded Bandit.
Wounded
Wounded
Bandit.
Bandit.
We have a winner.
We have a winner. The Wounded Bandit.
J Red Bear, Grumpy Firecat.
Grumpy Firecat wins. Although I'm gonna give Legend 57 a hookup for that one though, because that was probably bring up Legend 57s one more time because J Red Bear wins, but I'm gonna give Legend 50. There we go with an explosion. I hate you guys.
Explosions.
As far as the art effort put into it, yeah, I would say.
Yeah,
that.
well,
Legend 57
For-
always
for-
does great stuff.
for me, this is like he's been submitting art for a long time, and it's been getting so much better. For Reals also has trust issues, so Legend 57 is definitely getting a hookup for this piece, and I'm gonna put it on my fridge. I'm printing it out, and I'm gonna put it on the fridge.
You go right here where everyone can see you every day. Congratulations to J.
That
Red Bear.
drawing, but congratulations to
Yes.
J Red Bear as well
He's
for
great. I
making
love-
everyone laugh.
Yeah. I always love the Grumpy Firecats. I love the comics.
Coming out of nowhere, the
Grumpy
Grumpy
Firecats
Firecats.
and Badly Burns comics. I love the
Yeah, Badly Burns
comedies that you guys
stuff
put
is really
together.
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Everyone's telling me it's time for Knife Lady OS to go online. Did she boot up yet?
They don't care about us. Oh yeah, you guys can. If you want to hear the captions, you can put in your comms. So I forgot we didn't warn you about this. But
Oh.
Right.
I don't know if Knife Lady booted up.
yeah, because I didn't actually turn my comms on yet. Because you know.
My comms are on, but
All right.
You don't even want to know what's going on under
I
the
hear reading
table.
things, but I don't hear her.
we need this. We need the picture up too. Yeah,
Here we go.
this is a picture of our concept.
Did we turn on the
artist
turn?
working.
There it is. I heard
Now I'm
something.
hearing stuff.
Did somebody just say Knife Lady still exists?
Knife-
Who do you think runs
What?
the show every Friday?
Oh, Skint Kingle's getting called out.
All right, next one. Guys, check this out. She looks like Elsa. Looks like the Chosen took over the office power supply once again.
You have no idea.
Yeah, we have two halves of the office. We've got the light side and the dark side.
Well,
And there's-
and then pods just turn off.
Oh well, yeah. Also, yes.
And then things just turn off
That's
at like
the thing.
6:30.
That happens
Like,
sometimes.
boop, gone. Hope you saved your work.
Hope you're done. Because you are, even if you aren't.
Is he sleeping? Don't know. Concentrating on this comic.
Got important stuff to do. God.
The melding never stops expanding. We must fight back.
Must fight back. Must.
All right, people, we have a code red. Someone drank all my cherry-flavored Mountain Dew, and it wasn't me. Well, this time, anyway.
Because the drink's called Code
You
Red.
put it in the public
I get it.
fridge, probably.
That's why Jeff has like his own private fridge just for his own Red Bull. So don't even think about it. Even Thundercleats is over there like, nope.
No one touches the fridge.
So on the right, we have, these new mobs are awesome. On the left, this new comic is awesome. And in the middle, I wonder if I should give her lipstick or him.
Yes.
The guy on the left was actually working on. Last time I saw, he was working on the aranyas that come out of the eggs from the aranya that poops out the egg.
Oh,
we were
yes,
talking about
we
that.
discussed the pooping around last week.
Yes.
Great.
Another P word in there.
Needs more new art to stick to the walls of the new office.
This is
I
true.
like this one.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
We're
true.
working on that one.
We have a lot of wall space.
Oh, that was
now,
mine.
so-
There's a lot of. That's just.
I just started
shameless-
throwing them in now.
Shameless self-promotion. Just.
We do. It was funny because I was talking to Ryder there, who's in the middle, our lead concept artist, and I think, it was because Nick Keith was over by him looking for like environment kits,
Yeah, yeah.
and like we're looking through this stuff, and I'm like, I didn't know we had this, and Juan, one of our other modelers, comes by and he's like, look, we need to just take everything we have, concept it out, and print it out and put it on the walls. Because
I don't know if we have enough.
we
walls,
have
but-
so many
yeah.
things that people have no idea we have
Right.
at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it, like 8 years worth of concept art, 7-8 years worth of concept art. It's a lot of stuff.
We could spend thousands of dollars in ink printing out all of that stuff.
That's true.
Easily.
And it would be totally worth it.
That's true. But yeah, there's a lot of. I'm sorry, I failed you. Do you want to build a snowman? Oh, jeez.
You people are silly.
Look at that knife lady. You scared off Skin. You scared him off.
No, I come back. I'm sorry.
Knife lady, sorry. Come back.
A little bit.
Make an art book. Well, we did
That'd
have the.
be-
That'd be a good
Pretty
idea.
epic art book.
We did have the digital.
Digital
the
art
digital
pack.
art book that we put out with our launch packs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool to. Have
Concept
Yeah.
art pages to red beam packs. Yeah,
That's true.
I think part of the issue with that is one guy buys pack, shares art.
Yeah.
So now we have to DRM the art, and now it's like, oh,
Yeah, and that's.
that's not
Yeah.
fun.
Might as well just give it away if we're going to do that.
Yeah,
Which, I mean,
One thing I would really like to bolster. I mean, I really need Ryder's help with this, although he's super busy with that thing he was working on there.
Yeah.
The
Well,
one
he's
in the
been
middle.
really busy with lots of things.
Well, that's true. He is as a lead, yeah.
Generally always busy.
But I really want to bolster our. We have a section on the site for concept art, and I really want to bolster that content, like add a lot more. Because right now it's just a couple of environments, some buildings, some characters. But if we can throw on a lot more of the cooler, polished up stuff, it'd be cool.
Yeah, I guess as long as people understand this is concept art, it's not like a promise of all of this is
Yeah,
going into the game.
that's
immediately.
true.
Yeah.
Well, even if we put like all our environments up there, if like people actually resonated towards an environment, I wonder like that
Yeah.
could be like, hey, look, a lot of people are like saying, where the heck is this? Maybe that's something we could build out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's something that's been on my radar. But
Now we're redoing the site too.
yeah, so.
Spoilers on that
Spoilers?
too.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Margie's gonna throw things at me.
Please don't kill us, knife lady.
You can tell them what the concept art in
Maybe I have to set in
that
a stabby
caption
mood
this
one
is
day.
about.
She's in a stabby mood most days when we're around.
I could, but John didn't want us to give context.
Ew, fine.
Yeah, I know.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, we are working on a whole bunch of new things, but that's going to be an in-game, a special in-game piece that we're working on there. Anyways, so that's our show today. Thank you guys so much for joining us, talk about level design,
Thanks
world
for having
building, the
us.
process.
Yeah, had fun.
I had fun, showing off all the cool work that we did there.
Yeah.
Or you did.
No, we
We
did.
as Red 5.
We did, yes.
Royally.
3 different pieces of I think we should do one of those things that you see at like panels where they're just like, you just sit a concept artist in front of like a bunch of people and they
them
just start
shout
telling
ideas,
you, they
yeah.
just start out ideas and he was like,
It's like, whose line is it anyway?
Yeah.
Concept art.
I think the concept artists would love that.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Anyways,
Totally.
so that's our show. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks.
See everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
This is a core to control. We are prepped for space fold. Initiate on Admiral's mark.
Initiating spacefold on Admiral Nostromo's mark. 3, 2,